put a sermon together, I usually look at the New King James, the English Standard Version, ASV, the new ASV. And I did that. But I found today's sermon for me, I understood a lot better coming out of the New Living Translation. And I'm going to use that today solely for the sermon today. Now, the New Living Translation I use for my comfort reading most of the time. I think it's really, really good for that. I don't think it grasps everything that some of the other ones do, but it's conceptual Bible. But this 2 John here, which was read, we're going to look at it, and we're going to say solely in 2 John. There's no other verses from any place else. But the New Living Translation just brought these 2 points out to me better than any other version did, and that's why I want to use it. Now, I know we have some young people here today. Hopefully you guys know what postcards are, right? Okay, good. I was feeling pretty old because I was trying to think, when was the last time I received a postcard? And I would be hard-pressed to know. Most postcards we receive today is remember this date for a wedding anniversary or a marriage thing coming up or whatever that is. But I remember when my grandmother, postcards were pretty common back in the day. Number one, they were cheaper to send. Number two, you send a little message out and you got it back. Generally, it wasn't anything important. And generally, it happened when you were on vacation. You would send postcards back to people. Phones weren't as freely in our hands as what they were back then. But you'd send it, and you always liked receiving a postcard. You'd say, oh, look, Aunt Bessie is over there in Tennessee, and she's done this, this, and this. And, you know, it was the Facebook of the time. That's what a postcard was. We don't get many of those anymore, and I'm hard-pressed to remember on my last vacation if I seen a postcard or not in any of the stores we were in. I think there was some, but not much. But this would be John sending us a postcard to the Kent Church of Christ, in my opinion. This is called the Postcard Sermon. So let us begin. This is 2 John, and there's only one chapter, so we are in chapter 1, 1 through 13. This letter is from John, the elder. Well, right away, John makes it known who he is and what he is. And he tells us that. It's a good greeting because we always got on a postcard, this is Bessie, your aunt, or this is John Smith, your neighbor, or whatever. It goes there. But then he goes into what I would consider what I hope and pray that we are and what we get when it says, I am writing to the chosen lady and her children. Now I'm going to stop there. There's a lot of debate on what this means. I believe the chosen lady is the church, and the children are the members that make up the church. That's what I gained. There's so many going back and forth, but I'm not going to argue it. You can do whatever you would like to do with that, but that's what I'm looking at here. As does everyone else who knows the truth, whom I love in the truth. So John is telling us that we're in the truth. And that's really good because we really try hard to stay in the truth, don't we? As does everyone else who knows the truth. Isn't it important that other people know that we are in the truth? And John in this postcard is opening up to everyone that sees it. Remember, a postcard was not in an envelope. Everybody could read what was written. So John's reading and saying, you're in the truth, and everyone else that knows the truth is there also. Because the truth lives in us, and we will be with us forever. Well, that truth is Jesus Christ. Knowing who he is and trying to live like we are. Now here's what I really like. Grace, mercy, and peace be which come from God the Father and from Jesus Christ. Oh, does the church need grace, mercy, and peace? We definitely need that. Definitely need grace, mercy, and peace. And being the church, as we talked about, the world has turned the church into a complex or a building, not people. us as people need the grace, mercy, and peace. This building could care less whether there is grace, peace, and mercy, but we need it. So John's telling us, the Son and the Father will continue to be with us who live in the truth and love. Oh, as long as we're living in truth and love, we're going to be okay. And that's so good to know that it can be seen. I hope anyone that comes through the door knows that they're going to hear the truth and they're going to be shown love. There's not too many people that walk through the door, or unless they leave partway through the sermon or whatever, that's not going to be overwhelmed with hello, how are you, shown and done that way. And that's the way we should be. How happy I was to meet some of your children and find them living according to the truth, just as the Father commanded. Now this is where I can see John, if we're looking in human times that we're living in right now, on vacation, and he sees some of us on vacation. Now, I'm just going to jump off here for a second. I love to vacation. I love vacations. But you know what the most stressful part of a vacation is to me? And I may spend more time doing this than I actually do planning the vacation. Now remember, my wife is a list writer, so we know what we're doing on Monday, we know what we're going on Tuesday, we know what we're doing on Wednesday. We schedule a day to take a break, and then back and forth. And if we're lucky, we schedule 2 or 3 things in the same day. But the thing that drives me the hardest is finding the truth and finding a church to attend wherever I'm going. Used to be a lot easier than what it is now. The last congregation I went, the last vacation I met the congregation, they did things a little weird. They had 2 Sunday morning services, no Bible class, but 2 services. And they switched elders and deacons for each service. And they were really about this 45 minutes in between where they had coffee. I've never seen such an elaborate coffee stand in my life at a church before. But they were really about having that coffee, which fellowship is good. But as I listened to the person that was preaching, which was one of their elders, he went through salvation, the step of salvation, and left out confessing Jesus in the first sermon. Well, you're human. You can go through that and you can miss that. He also left it out of his second sermon. Now remember, we were there for probably 2 or 3 Sundays and a couple Wednesdays. I spoke a little bit. I didn't confront him as maybe I should have, but I didn't confront him on that. But the feeling of the truth left me with that congregation. So we didn't go back, and there was no congregation within an hour and a half of where we were staying. So we went online and we worshiped online with a church that we knew was truth. So it's really important to find a church that is truthful and to make sure they're truthful. And if something isn't done, I should have spoke with the gentleman, but I don't know. I'll admit I just kind of felt odd that I'm a visitor and I'm going to tell you you're doing something wrong, but I should have. He may have overlooked it in both sermons, I don't know. But it's just weird that he preached the same sermon twice and he missed it both times. So, last week I missed 3 or 4 points. It's easy to do. It's just doing it twice in the same day is a little, back to back was a little confusing for me. But that's how important the truth is. We must keep the truth at the forefront. And that's Jesus and God and what they tell us to do. So as John continues in this, I'm reminding you, dear friends, that we should love one another. This is not a new commandment, but one we have had from the beginning. Love means doing what God has commanded us, and He has commanded us to love one another, just as we heard from the beginning. I have to love you guys. God told me so. He told me, God commanded I love you. But I love you. I don't know how I can express this any more than just telling you. It makes me happy to see each and every one of you every time we get together. to hear what's going on, to see what's going on, not to see the falling out of bed, but knowing that we're there, praying for people, hearing about people, and just loving one another makes it all worthwhile to me, no matter what happens. It's just wonderful. And knowing that that's what God wants us to do is even better. What's it tell us in Hebrews 10:24? To love one another, to stir up good works. We are to love the brotherhood, take care of it before others. We're to love each other. And I think we do love each other. Now, I might be the brother that somebody doesn't want, but we'll leave that nameless, Karen. But, I understand that. My sister doesn't want me either in real life either, so we're all good with that. But John tells us to love anyone. And you know why he wants us to look at the truth? Why he wants grace, mercy, and peace, and why he wants love? He tells us in verse 7. I say this because many deceivers have gone out into the world. They deny that Jesus Christ came in a real body. Such a person is a deceiver and an antichrist. Watch out that those do not lose what we have worked so hard to achieve. Do you know what we would lose if we allowed someone to come in with false doctrine that was there? We'd lose it. We've worked hard to be truthful. I mean, I like the fact that when I go to other congregations, I proudly can say I'm from the Kent Church of Christ. Because hopefully that will bring that we are truthful, we are honest, and that we love. That's what I portray when I say that. I attend the Kent Church of Christ. Because I want to be part of that. I don't want someone coming in and taking that away from me. Because he tells us, be diligent so that you receive your full reward. If we're not diligent and we allow those people to come in, we're going to be in trouble. Anyone who wanders away from this teaching has no relationship with God. Seems like hell to me, doesn't it? No relationship with God? John, why are you putting this in postcards? You're depressing me, okay? You're depressing me. Please help me here. But then he goes on, he says, but anyone who remains in the teaching of Christ has a relationship with both the Father and the Son. Oh, thank you, John. I appreciate that. Thank you. You're just warning us that something may come along. And here is where the New Living Translation brings this point. I have had a hard time all of my life understanding this because it reads differently in other translations. Mike, if you wouldn't mind turning over to the new, you have your phone. Anyone have a New King James Version? Audrey, would you read verses 10 and 11 out of that, please?
Yes. If anyone comes to you and does not bring this doctrine, do not receive him into your house nor greet him, for he who greets him shares in his evil deeds.
All right. That has always scared me, because I greet just about everyone that comes in. Now, the New Living Translation gives a very different perspective on it, and I really like this. If anyone comes to your meeting and does not teach the truth about Christ, don't invite that person to your home. There is a huge understanding that this brought to me. Don't invite this person home or give any type of encouragement. Anyone who encourages such people becomes a partner in their evil work. Now, for years, I have had a hard time understanding that. How can I, but this, if you put that verse in this context, puts a whole new meaning on the verse for me. If we have someone come in, Cody just came to the door, so it's not Cody. If we have someone come in and teach us false doctrine, what do we need to do? Number one, we better be diligent enough to realize he taught false doctrine. Number two is we don't encourage that. And number three is we correct him lovingly with the Bible, or her with the Bible, And if that's not acceptable, thank you for coming, but you can come and worship, but we're not letting you teach or preach. So that really put a new spin on me. I hope that helped you out in understanding those verses more, because it really helped me out a lot. It was like, oh, those moments, oh, the light shone. And I just did this. I read through all those other translations, and I'm just sitting there, I'm thinking, okay, I'm just going to go to the New Living Translation and read. And I went, boy, that was really good. I said, good. Now this is where I believe that the church in the New Living Translation, that the elect lady is the church. I have much more to say to you, but I don't want to do it with paper and ink, for hope to visit you soon and talk with your face to face. Then our joy will be complete. Greetings from the children of your sister, chosen by God. We have sister congregations. So that's how I believe it is a church that he's talking about here, through the New Living Translation. But isn't it great if John would come and visit us so that we could be complete in our joy? That would be fun. I realize it would be scary, but that would be fun. That would be fun. But this postcard isn't meant to be an end-all we are. It's just a reminder of a lot of things. Let us have that grace, mercy, truth, and love that we need to have. Let us be diligent, and let us be careful of what comes in from the world. What is the job of everyone in this congregation? It's to protect the church. That's our job. Doesn't matter. Everybody has a right to protect the congregation, or has an obligation even to protect the congregation. If I say something, if I do something, or if anyone else says or does something that's wrong, please correct us. I have to give it to my biggest critic, who's my wife. She tells me when it's good or bad, when I've laid an egg or if I did okay, and I know that instantaneously when I sit down, because she will pat my leg 3 times if I did well. If she doesn't pat my leg, I know I'm going to hear about it after services. But I love that. I love that very much. Karen is also another great one that will come to you and say, hey, you said this, did you mean this? And I love that. I would rather people do that than be quiet like I was for that elder in that congregation. It's better to speak up than not to speak up. So, at the end of this postcard, he says, I want to see you in person. Isn't that what we all long to do, is to see people in person? Depends on what day of the week. I'm not that friendly on Friday, okay? I'm just letting you know. But we all long to see each other in person. And that's why I love to see you guys here. It's because I get to see you guys in person. I get to let Cody know that I beat him last week in football. Eliminated him from the playoffs totally. The name of my team is Old Dog because I think I'm the oldest person in it, and I'm 13% chance of making the playoffs, all right? I've really had a tough season. But it's fun, and those are the kind of things you have fun with when you see people. We all talk to one another about certain things. The first time I see Tessa, we figure, how was school this week? How many tests do you have coming? How many are you afraid of or worried about? It's finals week. Are you happy? Yeah, I'm happy. I'm only worried about one. Those are good things. Those are good things. And to just hear and have conversations with people. I love standing back there, and one of the reasons I do it is I get to see everyone interact with one another. And that makes me feel really good, is seeing the interaction between our brothers and sisters. It says you can't choose your family, but you can choose your friends. Well, we're both very, very blessed here because we both have family and friends that we have chosen. And it's so nice. Now I'll give you my 10-word sermon. You've all sinned, and you better all come forward today, okay? Yeah, I know. See, Karen says, that's not the brother I want. I know. No, I'm just kidding. But I am not kidding that this invitation is open to you. If you would like to grow closer to God, if you have a need, if there's something that you're missing in your life and you need us to pray for it, or something that's happened that you need us to pray for it, or somebody or anyone, we can do so as we stand and sing.